Hello, my loves, and welcome back. Do you wonder if your cat is anxious? Do you wonder if they're dealing with anxiety? Would you know what to look for? In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 signs of anxiety in cats. Now, let me be clear, this isn't a checklist. A cat doesn't have to display every single one of these 10 things to be an anxious cat, okay? And also, I wanted to just confirm that cats can suddenly or change their behavior and begin to deal with anxiety. So understanding your cat's norm, then their normal, if you like, is key, okay? When you start to notice change in behaviors, and maybe some of the behaviors that I'm going to share with you, it might be that they're starting to deal with anxiety, okay? Some of the ones I'm going to talk about are obvious, others not so much. So make sure that you watch the video so that you can see all of the 10 that I'm going to cover. And if you haven't already subscribed to the Naturally Cats YouTube channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button along with the bell to get notifications of my new releases so you can help your cat with every video. Before we dive in, I just wanted to share with you why I'm talking about anxiety like all the time. It's because I've got an anxious cat. My gorgeous boy Leo, who was feral for the first 18 months of his life, came to me from a rescue centre where he'd been for 3 months. He was captured as part of a trap, neuter and release program. Him and the rest of the colony that he was with were going to go to a farm so they could kind of be managed and overlooked but not have too much human interaction. However, they decided at the rescue centre that he showed signs of potentially being able to work with humans. So they worked with him one-on-one. There was one woman that worked with him for 3 months, and then we got him, long story short. However, he's not fully domesticated. You know, yes, he sleeps in an igloo bed overnight, but he actually feels safer in the big wide world outside, which I will never understand. But that's him. Now, he has shown me in different ways his anxiety over different things. So I speak from experience when I talk to you about signs of anxiety in cats. So I just wanted you to know where I'm coming from. Okay, let me get my list up. Got a list so I don't forget any. Okay, so we're going to start with a couple of the obvious ones. So hiding and trembling. Generally, this happens if you've got a new cat. If you've just brought them home from the rescue centre or from another home or another space, and they're not used to where they are in their surroundings, they will hide away under the bed, in the corner of the bathroom, wherever they can. They will try to make themselves as small as possible and hide away. So this is natural, this is normal, right? The cat is trying to process a change in their circumstance and environment. If your cat suddenly starts to do this, please get a vet check done because something's not right, okay? Everything I'm going to share with you in this video, none of it replaces veterinary care. If you're unsure about or you've experienced a change of state for your cat, please get them checked by a vet to make sure that there are no physical issues. Some of these that I'm going to talk to you about today, a cat will also demonstrate them if they are dealing with a physical pain or a physical problem, okay? So hiding away, trembling. So I experienced this with Leo recently when we went to the vets, and I've got another video which I'll post a link below, which is about different types of anxiety in cats. We were at the veterinary surgery. We didn't go in because there's cats and dogs, and so we waited in the car, and Leo was sat in his carrier and he was literally like trembling in the carrier. Broke my heart. So he didn't know what was happening. You know, he was anxious because he's not at home. He's in the carrier. We've been in the car. He doesn't know what's coming, although I did talk to him and tell him. So he was experiencing anxiety about like in the moment. Okay. This isn't necessarily about prolonged anxiety, you know, chronic anxiety. It can be acute. So trembling is another sign to look for. Then we've got pacing or restlessness. So again, this is understanding like what is your cat's norm? Okay, are they generally quite fidgety? Are they generally kind of, do they move around the house a lot? Do they have a lot of energy to burn? Some Chinese 5-element types have a lot of energy, so they can be quite restless. So again, it's knowing if this is the sudden change for your cat, or if you've got a new cat, if they're starting to do this, yes, it could be a sign of anxiety. And I've got another video which I'll share with you about how to help your cat with anxiety. I think it's natural treatments for anxiety, I think it's called. I'll find the link and pop it below. So we've got hiding or trembling, pacing or restlessness. So pacing is obvious, you know, they're literally walking up and down. I've had a cat when the guardians left the house, he had separation anxiety. They had a video recorder and they would see him literally pacing up in front of the door. Restlessness may be a little bit more difficult to spot. So this is where your cat can't settle. Okay, so they may be sitting down 1 minute, trying to sort of tuck their legs under, and then that's not quite right. Then they're looking at the window, or they're going to the door. It's like they've got like they can't sit down. They've got ants in their pants, as my grandma used to say, and they can't really settle. So they've got that nervous, anxious energy within them. Think about us as humans. When we're anxious, we've got butterflies in our tummy, we might be fidgety, we can't focus, we can't sit still. It's the same for cats. Okay, then we've got aggressive or destructive behavior. So again, this is a common indication of pain in cats. So it's always helpful to get a check done. So aggression shows up in cats in different ways. Okay, their behavior, their body language is the biggest form of communication that they've got. I have got a blog about 10 types of feline aggression, which again, I'll pop a link below. Aggression in cats isn't straightforward. Okay, it's not because they're angry. They don't work that way. If a cat is feeling anxious, if they're feeling unsafe, if they're feeling scared, they might be reactive. When we first got Leo, we would put our hands out or we would sit near him, and there were times when he would just hiss at us. We weren't going anywhere near him because he was showing and demonstrating that he was scared, he was afraid, he was anxious about what was going on around him. And destructive behavior, this is really important to decipher what your cat has already been doing. So if they've already been scratching the side of your sofa, that's not a destructive behavior. That's unfortunately a misdirected behavior, because they're going back there because it smells like them. Destructive behavior means suddenly perhaps pulling tufts of fur out of themselves, or it means chewing on really random things in the home, or scratching and continuously at carpet points that they've never done before, with like a bit of a frantic kind of attitude. Okay, hang on, my screen's gone black. Let me just check we're still there. Yeah, okay. So just be mindful of that. And another one I wanted to talk about before we take a quick pause is clingy behavior. So this could be that the cat is really connected to a human, and that human is the only place they feel safe. So we have to remember, anxiety comes from a fear of the unknown. Anxiety comes from a space, like if we think about, again, with humans, we feel anxious if we don't know how we're going to pay our bills. We feel anxious if we're going to a family gathering and there's going to be loads of people, or a new event. We feel anxious of the unknown. Okay. It's the same for cats as well. So if you've got a cat that is demonstrating clingy behaviors, find a way to support them. So it could be, if they are particularly connected to your roommate or your partner, use some of their t-shirts and put them on the floor when they go to work, so that your cat has got a concentrated element of their scent. Okay, put some herbs down. Find a way to support the cat's emotional state. All right. Again, I talk about separation anxiety in another video, which is which I'll pop a link below. Okay, so how is this video resonating with you so far? I really hope that you're enjoying it. Come into the comments and let me know. If you've got any questions about signs of anxiety in cats, I'd love to hear from you. It really warms my heart to connect with the Naturally Cats community. So drop a comment and get in touch. Okay, so just to recap, we've covered pacing and restlessness, hiding or trembling, aggressive or destructive behavior, and clingy behavior. Okay, so now we're going to come on to changes in appetite. Yes, there is such a thing as food anxiety in cats. Again, I talked about this in my other video, where they can be anxious about where they eat, what they eat from, who's around them when they eat. So Leo is, I wouldn't say necessarily an anxious eater, but food for him is not a key driver. And I think that stems from him being feral for the first 18 months of his life. So around his key socialization periods and, interaction stages, developmental stages, he was feral. So food would have been like necessity. He just needs it to survive. And that's exactly what he's like here when he has his meals put on a plate in front of him. He will, if there's a sudden noise or if someone comes to the door, he will run behind the sofa. And it will be a good half an hour before he goes back to his plate of food, because it's kind of like a have to rather than an I want to. So changes in appetite can be a sign of anxiety. Think about, again, us as humans. I know I keep referencing us, and we are obviously a different species, but sometimes I think it helps if we can understand anxiety in ourselves, because it does transfer to our cats. We can see the same behaviors in them. So when you're anxious, I don't know about you, but when I'm anxious, actually, I can't eat. Like the thought of food, like just my body can't handle it. I don't have the physical capacity to digest food because I'm all up in my head and I'm completely full of worry. So if you've got an anxious cat, you might notice that they've got changes in appetite. Again, any sudden changes, get them checked by a vet. When it comes to anxiety and food, there are ways to help your cat to trust the process. Okay, it might be finding a particular treat that they like that's quite smelly. Cats work with the sense of smell, and it might be that you support them with their eating habits. When Leo, it's a great example actually. When Leo has had an anxious episode, like when we've just had carpet fitted last summer, and I didn't realize at the time, Leo, oh my god, was behind the spare bed in the spare room, and they were doing the landing here on the first floor. I didn't realize he was in the house. Oh my gosh, they were banging away, ripping up carpet, ripping up gripping rods, banging, hammering. I found it stressful, and I'm sat here in my office with the door shut. An hour and a half later, they paused, left the house. I saw him come out of the spare bedroom. Oh my gosh, my heart plummeted. Anyway, the next 2 days, his appetite slowly declined. And it got to a point where there was one day he didn't eat until 7 p.m. in the evening, when I finally managed to tempt him with some food. So anxiety can present itself with changes in appetite after a traumatic event. So keep an eye on your cat, because if their appetite changes, it's something to be aware of so that you can support them. Okay. Then we've got excess grooming. I have mentioned this before with a destructive behavior. So you might find that a particularly anxious or stressed cat might pull tufts of fur out, but also you might see them over grooming. So there is a video, I don't know if I've done it yet actually, about over grooming. I'll have a look. Over grooming in cats is a whole other topic of itself. It's a self-soothing mechanism. They do it because they're trying to calm themselves down. Okay. So again, if you've got a cat that is over grooming, please get it some help. I've got a mini course actually on my website, naturallycats.co.uk, which talks to you about the causes of over grooming, treatments, and how you can help your cat. So again, I'll pop a link, so many links with this video. I'll pop a link below for that, because you might find that helpful. So that's another sign of anxiety to look for. Okay, we're almost there. So we've got, just to recap, pacing and restlessness, hiding and trembling, aggressive or destructive behavior, clingy behavior, changes in appetite, and excessive grooming. Okay. If you're still here watching, yay, well done. And thank you for still being here with me. Okay, so we've got a couple more left to go. So the next one I wanted to talk about is vocalization. This is really about noticing a change. Goodness sake. I'm getting all excited about the topic. This is really about noticing a change in your cat. What is their normal vocalization pattern like? Baby Max barely says a peep. Okay. He will generally only ever really make a noise, and it's more like a meep than any form of cry or meow. Is one, if he's in the carrier going to the vets, then it's a sound I've never heard. It's like a demon possessed. Or if he brings a kill home, because he's really proud of himself and he tells me. So he meeps. I'm not going to do it. Leo will vocalize when he comes home in the morning after having his wee to check where I am. He will obviously yowl when he's in the carrier for the vets. And sometimes he will meow if he's outside and I'm calling him. So I'm like going, Leo, and he's like, Mum. So vocalization is about noticing a change for your cat. Have they suddenly lost their voice? Have they suddenly started meowing like a demon? Noticing those changes is really key. And when as soon as you notice them, get help. Whether it's from someone like me, whether you go to the vet, whether you speak to a traditional behaviorist, whatever it may be, get your cat some help. Okay. Again, remember what I said. Their behavior is their strongest form of communication. Okay. So pay attention. The next one is Hypervigilance. Oh, look, I've just realized I've repeated one on my list. So we've only got 2 left to go. Brilliant. Hypervigilance. So this is like the secret sign of anxiety, I would say, because you've really got to be paying attention to your cat to notice that this is what they're doing. So it could be that they look like they're asleep on the sofa. Leo does this all the time. I'm like, oh, he looks so cute. He looks so beautiful. And all of a sudden, like one eye will open. And I'm like, oh, hey, buddy. And he wasn't actually really asleep. He may be resting his eyes. He may be kind of, chilled, resting. But he is aware. He is alert. And actually, there's times when I've watched him and he will, again, look like he's asleep and his ears are doing this. And he literally, like, he is listening to everything. Whereas baby Max, when he's asleep, a few minutes and he's gone. Like, I can tickle the fur on his feet. That's the only thing that really wakes him up. So hypervigilance is always being alert, always being aware. Leo also has this when he is sat in the utility room window or in the dining room window. He might look like he's loafed, but he is constantly kind of like aware. And it's a constant, as it says, hypervigilance, constantly aware of what's going on. So if I've got a parcel coming to the door that I've forgotten about or didn't know was coming today, and I haven't been able to tell Leo that it's coming, someone walks across the front of the house or comes down the driveway, he's already aware of it before even I am, before they come to the door and ring the bell, because he's going to run outside because that's where he feels safe. So he is always on guard, always on alert for any potential threats, basically. Now, that would make sense because he was feral for the first 18 months of his life. So that's what he has been conditioned to do. But with your cat, even if you've had them from a kitten, they might have had an instance or an episode or an experience that has led them to feel that way, that they need to be on alert and looking out for things. So hypervigilance can also be a sign of anxiety. And the last one, because I messed up my list, is over excessive salivation. So again, knowing your norm, if you normally cuddle your cat and you're scratching on their face and, you're giving them cuddles and they're drooling, enjoy it. Gross, but enjoy it. That's their norm, right? If you notice your cat is sat on the edge of the sofa and they're starting to drool and that they've never done that before, it could be a sign of anxiety. Again, get them checked by a vet. Don't forget. It could be that they've got dental issues, sign of physical pain. But if you've got, for example, salivation and a couple of the other behaviors, it could be that your cat's dealing with anxiety. I know we've covered a lot in this video. It's a lot longer than I like my videos to be, but I wanted you to have an idea of just what to look for, because it's not just one thing. Anxiety in humans, we try to hide it. Well, I do. And those that really know me know when I'm withdrawn, know when I am trying to process it all. And no one knows your cat better than you do, my love. Okay. So remember, everything we've talked about today is not a checklist. It's not a question of my cat's got all of these, therefore my cat is anxious, or my cat's got 2 of these, so they're not. That's not the case. And it could be that they come on suddenly or after a significant event, or it could be that they slowly start to kind of come into the cat's life and day to day. Always get them checked by a vet if you're concerned. And don't forget, like, our energy and emotion also impacts our cats. So if you're an anxious person like me, you may have an anxious cat. And that doesn't have to always be the way, okay? I host a program called the Become a Soul-Led Cat Guardian program, and it's really an opportunity for you to deal with your anxiety and emotional state to help and support your cat. I'll drop a link below. Full details are on my website. It's about helping you to come out of your head and step away from your anxiety-driven day-to-day, to come into your heart, to be a soul-led guardian and connect with the wisdom and essence of your cat. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me with this video. Like I said, pop into the comments and let me know how it's resonated for you. I love to hear from the Naturally Cats community. And I'll pop all those other links to the other videos there as well. Have a great day. Thank you for being here with me, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.